Car dealers don't make money selling cars. That sounds wrong. You walk onto a lot. You see hundreds of vehicles, price tags everywhere, a salesperson heading towards you before you've even parked. Obviously, this business is about selling cars, except it isn't. The car on the showroom floor is not the product. It's the bait. And the real business of me is something most people sitting in that chair never see coming. Here's the number that breaks the illusion. The average dealership keeps somewhere between 1% and 2.5% of its total sales as actual profit. Not 7%, not 15%, 1 to 2.5%. Sell a car for $10,000, and if everything goes right, the dealership might clear somewhere between $100 and $250, and yet, in almost every American town, the local car dealer is among the wealthiest people around. How does an industry with margins that thin produce some of the richest people in every zip code? That is the entire question, and the answer has almost nothing to do with the cars. There are three versions of this business: mainstream franchise, Ford, Toyota, Chevrolet; luxury franchise, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche; independent used car lot. Each one is a completely different business, wearing the same sign out front. A mainstream franchise runs on volume, low margin per car, but the manufacturer throws national advertising, brand recognition, and subsidized financing behind you. In exchange, you answer to the manufacturer on almost everything. Facility design, mandatory renovations, inventory you're told you'll receive, whether you asked for it or not. Luxury franchises flip the equation. Fewer cars move through the lot, but each one carries a much fatter margin, and the buyers aren't rattled by a bad month in the economy. The independent used car lot, no manufacturer looking over your shoulder, no mandated renovations, just you, a fence, and a wholesale auction account. Cheapest way in. But also the weakest. Independent lots don't get a warranty repair department, which turns out to be where a huge amount of the real money hides. The franchise model, expensive and restrictive as it is, wins over time. It's the only version of this business built to survive a bad year, because it stacks three separate profit engines on top of each other, instead of relying on one. This is where the fantasy usually dies. A standard franchise dealership requires somewhere between $5 million and over $10 million just to open the doors. Not to get rich, just to open. It starts with the franchise fee, the check you write directly to the manufacturer, for the right to sell their badge. For a brand like Ford, that fee can be as low as $30,000. For a premium import brand, it can run past $500,000. Then comes the land. A modern dealership needs between 4 and 8 acres, room for the showroom, service bays, and enough parking to store the enormous rolling inventory a dealer is required to carry. Most mainstream brands require somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million in pure liquid capital sitting untouched, plus a total net worth somewhere between $2 million and $4 million. This isn't a suggestion. If you don't clear that bar, you don't get the franchise, no matter how much you want it. Add licensing, legal fees, and state bonding. Add dealer management software and diagnostic systems. And that's before you've bought a single car to put on the lot. New cars don't work the way you'd expect. You don't call up the manufacturer and order what you think will sell. Manufacturers control the flow of new inventory through a system called turn and earn. The dealers who sell fast get rewarded with more of the best cars next cycle. The dealers who sell slowly get starved. It's a compounding cycle. The strong dealers get stronger. The weak ones get stuck moving whatever's left over. Used cars are sourced through trade-ins, lease returns, and wholesale auctions, open only to licensed dealers, where a car can be bid on and sold in under a minute. But almost the entire inventory sitting on a dealership lot is financed through something called floor plan financing, a revolving credit line where a bank or the manufacturer's own lending arm fronts somewhere between 95 and 100% of the cost for a new vehicle. The dealer holds the metal, the lender holds the risk, and here's the trap. Inventory sitting on the lot isn't neutral. It's bleeding money every single day it doesn't sell. Floor plan interest is typically priced at the benchmark lending rate, plus somewhere between 2 and 4 percentage points. Add insurance, lot maintenance, and straight depreciation, and the daily holding cost of a single vehicle runs somewhere between $40 and $85 per car per day. Sit on 100 vehicles, and your average turn time slips by just 10 days. Because of a slow month, that's an extra $40,000 to $85,000 gone. Not one extra dollar of revenue. just the cost of cars sitting still. Everyone assumes the dealer makes their money selling the car. That assumption is mostly wrong. The front-end margin, the profit on the actual metal, has been shrinking for years, thanks to the internet giving buyers instant access to invoice pricing and competing quotes. The average gross profit on a new vehicle recently dropped to roughly $2,247. That's not nothing, but it's nowhere near enough to explain the wealth this industry produces. So where's the rest of it coming from? The finance and insurance office. The room you sit in after you've already agreed to buy the car, the one that feels like paperwork. That room generates close to 37% of a dealership's entire gross profit. Here's the mechanism. When you finance a car, the dealership isn't just connecting you to a bank. The bank offers the dealer a wholesale interest rate called the buy rate. The dealer is then legally allowed to mark that rate up before presenting it to you. A 5% buy rate might show up on your paperwork as 7%. The dealership pockets the spread. It's called dealer reserve, pure profit generated from nothing, but a few percentage points on your loan. Then there's the extended warranty and the gap insurance. A warranty that costs the dealership around $1,000 wholesale might be sold to you for $2,500 to $3,500, a markup of 50 to 200%. Well-run finance departments attach one of these warranties to as many as 84% of all deals. That's not a rounding error. That's a second business running quietly inside the first one. Some dealership owners don't just sell warranty products for a one-time commission. They set up their own offshore reinsurance companies, often in places like the Turks and Caicos, structured specifically to hold tax advantages. When you buy that warranty, the premium doesn't just vanish into the manufacturer's pocket. It gets routed into the dealer's own captive insurance company. If your car never breaks down, or breaks down for less than what you paid in premium, the dealer keeps the entire underwriting profit. Under certain tax provisions, that underwriting profit can be exempt from standard taxation, up to an annual cap in the millions. The cash sitting in these captive companies doesn't sit idle. It gets invested in stocks and bonds, quietly compounding in the background, completely separate from whatever happens on the actual sales floor. That's the real secret of this industry. The car is basically the bait. The financing office is where the business happens. But even the finance office isn't the most profitable room in the building. That title belongs somewhere you'd never expect. The service department, service, parts, and the collision center typically account for only between 10 and 15% of a dealership's total revenue. And yet, that small slice generates roughly half of the dealership's entire gross profit, because the margins back there run between 45 and 50% on labor and parts. Compare that to the low single digits you get selling the car itself. Car sales are moody. They swing hard with interest rates, consumer confidence, the economy. But cars need oil changes and brake jobs, regardless of what the stock market is doing. Service is the department that doesn't panic during a recession. There's a specific number dealership owners obsess over, called the service absorption rate. It measures what percentage of the dealership's entire fixed overhead, rent, utilities, taxes, administrative salaries, gets covered purely by the profit generated in parts and service. The industry sets a target of 115% absorption. Once you hit 100%, every single car sold on the showroom floor afterward becomes pure unencumbered profit, because the building's actual costs are already covered by the service bay. Most dealerships only manage between 64 and 69%. The ones that push past 100% are the ones quietly getting rich, no matter what happened to car sales that month. Now let's talk about the price on the windshield, because it's not really the price. You negotiate against the manufacturer's suggested retail price, working your way down toward what you think is the dealer's actual cost, the invoice price. Except the invoice price is inflated on purpose by the manufacturer, usually by 1 to 3% of the sticker price. The dealer pays that inflated number using their floor plan credit. Then after the car is sold, the manufacturer quietly refunds that 1 to 3% back to the dealer in a check called dealer holdback, a $50,000 car with a 3% holdback. The dealer can sell that car at exact invoice price, look you dead in the eye, and still walk away with $1,500 in guaranteed profit. You never saw on any piece of paper. You think you won the negotiation. The dealership already built the win into the math before you sat down. Then there's the documentation fee. In heavily regulated states, are capped at $85. In deregulated states, the average fee runs past $1,100. Same paperwork, same printer, wildly different profit. depending entirely on where the state drew the line. Once you're actually negotiating, the dealership uses a tool specifically designed to keep you from doing math in your head. It's called the four square, split into 4 boxes: your trade-in value, the purchase price, your down payment, monthly payment. Most buyers fixate entirely on that 4th box because that's the one that hits their budget directly. The salesperson knows this and uses it. Want a higher trade-in value? Sure. But the loan term quietly stretches from 60 months to 72 or 84. Your monthly payment stays where you wanted it. The total interest you'll pay over the life of the loan climbs dramatically, and the dealership's margin stays fully protected. By tangling all 4 numbers together at once, almost nobody in that chair manages to optimize even a single one of them. So what does a dealership actually make? The average franchise dealership pulls in close to $60 million a year in total sales, and clears somewhere between 2 and 2.5% as net profit. The owner's official salary usually falls somewhere between $112,000 and $177,000 a year. That number looks almost ordinary, but it's a fraction of the real picture. Add distributions from dealership profit. Add rent, because many owners hold the actual land in a separate company, and lease it back to their own dealership at a premium rate. Add dividends quietly flowing out of an offshore reinsurance company most customers will never know exists. Once all 3 of those layers stack together, total compensation for a successful owner routinely reaches into the high 6 figures. For the ones who expand into multiple stores, into the millions. The car on the showroom floor was never really the product. It was the entry point into a machine, built to extract profit from every single stage of that vehicle's life, long after you've driven it off the lot. The richest car dealer in your town didn't get rich selling cars. He got rich on the financing, on the warranties, on the service bay, on the reinsurance company nobody talks about, and on the simple fact that most people walking onto that lot had no idea what room the real money was made in. If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe. The answers are in history, and I will show you where to look.